Let's start the chapter. Okay, in chapter 11, we will talk about developing leadership diversity. Now, the objective of this chapter is about understand and reduce the difficulties faced minority in organization, applying an awareness of the dimension of diversity and multicultural issue in your everyday life. Also encourage and support diversity to meet organizational needs. Also going to talk about and how to consider the role of cultural value and attitude in determining how to deal with employee from different culture or ethics background. Break down personal barriers that may stand in the way of becoming an inclusive leader. Use the sponsorship and employee affinity group to support female and minority participation and advancement. So what's a diversity? Diversity is the differences among people in a term of age, gender, race, or other dimension. And work for diversity is the workforce made of people with a different human qualities or a whole or who belong to various culture group. There is what is the traditional diversity, which is looking at age, race, gender, pay level, disability, and lifestyle. And the inclusive is actually looking at race, gender, lifestyle, pay level, function, competencies, personalities, military experience, position, nationalities, patent, language, and also a work style. That's an inclusive one. Now, changing attitude toward diversity is about looking at the factors contributing to increase the acceptance of diversities. Let's start from that point, which is the demographic changes that is happening, shift in the social values, and also the globalization. Now, the diversity of thought aids in achieving the high performance, by the way. The broader and the deeper base of ideas, opinions, and experience, those are values that diversity can bring in. And also increased creativity and innovation. It makes your company or organization more financially competitive, helps meet the need of diverse customers. So these are the benefits of having an organizational that diverse. But what's the challenge that minority faces to break into organizations? These are some challenges that we probably aware or not aware of it, such as the ethocentrisms. And it's a belief that one's own culture and subculture are inherently superior to other cultures. Prejudice is adverse feeling or opinion formed without regard for the fact. And there is a stereotyping, which is a rigid, exaggerated, irrational, and typically negative belief or image associated with a particular group of people. The other challenges that minorities facing is discrimination, which is treating people differently based on prejudicial attitude or stereotyping. And then you have what you call the class ceiling, which is invisible barrier that separate women and minorities from the top leadership position. Now, if we look at the primary domestic responsibility between man and woman, we will tend to take a look at this one and see the differences between them. Let's look at the women as leaders and what they have contributed, what kind of personalities when women become leaders. They have kind of more idealized influence. In a sense, followers identify with and want to emulate the leader. The leader is trusted and respected, maintains a high standards, and is considered to have a power because of who she is rather than what position she holds. And then what other thing as a leader in the woman more as inspirational motivations, leaders who appeals emotionally and symbolically to employees desire to do a good job and help achieve organization goals. Individual consideration, each follower is treated as an individual, but all are treated equitably. Individual needs are recognized and assignments are delegated to the followers to provide a learning opportunities too. Here's some comparison where a woman becomes a high achiever in the leadership qualities and organizational qualities. Let's take a look at this. The next stage that there is different interactions happening in a different culture. So for example, if we look at the handshake here, each culture does it differently. And we can take a look at this and see the differences for the handshake. A global diversity and socio-cultural environment. Globalization has caused managers to confront a broader range of issues. That's the effect of globalization. Social and cultural differences can cause a conflict, as you know. There is social value and social value systems, which is, we can define it as a power distance. And power distance is how much people accept equality in power. Higher power distance reflects an acceptance of power inequality among institutions, organization, and individuals. Low power distance means people expect equality or equality in power. There is other things that we look at it is uncertainty avoidance, the degree to which members of society feel uncomfortable with uncertainties and ambiguities, and thus support beliefs and behavior that promise certainty and conformity. The other thing that we look at it is individualism versus collectivism. And individualism is value for a loosely neat social framework in which individuals are expected to take care of themselves. On the other hand, collectivism is the preference for a tightly knit social framework in which people look out for one another and organization protect their members' interests. There is something also we look at it is in different culture, the masculinity. And it's not about men. Masculinity is a preference for achievement, heroism, assertiveness, work certainty or centrality, I'm sorry, and material success. And then what we have, femininity is the preference for a relationship, cooperation, group decision making, and quality of life. The cultural intelligence is the ability to use reasoning and observation to interpret unfamiliar situation and decide appropriate behavior response. Components of cultural intelligence, like it needs to have kind of, we look at the cognitive, the observational and learning skills, and the ability to pick up on clues to understand, emotional self-confidence and self-motivation. Leader has to believe in his or her ability to understand and assimilate into a different culture. Physical ability to shift speech pattern, expression, and body language to be in tune with the people from different culture. Different country looks at, does the leader has to be expert? And we see this is totally different. Like Japan is the highest and Sweden is the lowest. But to do the stages of awareness, diversity awareness is the best. You start from the lowest level of awareness and you defensive, and then you try to minimizing the differences, acceptance, adoption, and then integration, the higher level of awareness. And we will look at each one individually. Now, employee group affinity groups, groups based on social identity that focus on the concerns of employees from a specific group and enable them to make a greater contribution to the organization. Example. Sometimes called diversity network or employee resource group. They usually pursue activities that create ties to others throughout the organization, help employees to be more effective, reduce the members' social isolation, and their characteristics include senior leaders in them, contribute to the organization effectiveness. Then what we have, usually leaders do some kind of a sponsorship, which is a sponsorship is a strong support from a powerful positioned executive who is willing to put his or her reputation on the line to promote an individual's career advancement. In the field of minority sponsorship, sponsor advocate on behalf of the protege and connect the individual to important people and assignments. Sponsor expect outstanding performance and strong commitment in return, and also senior leaders sponsor people like themselves. That's the end of it. Thank you.